I'm John Lanning with IPMS for Crook, and this is going to be inbox review of model kit that just actually it came out a little while ago, but not too old. Anyway, actually, it's not going to be just one model kit. It's actually a review of 3 model kits that are in 2 boxes that are based on one kit. Are you confused? Yes? Good. Let's get started. Anyway, back in was it the last quarter of 2017? Special Hobby announced that they were going to release a 72nd scale sub, Viggen. Now, the Viggen is a very unique aircraft, especially because of the way it looks. It's wholly produced in Sweden with its own engine, um, and it was introduced in service in 1971, and currently it is still in service. Some modified versions are in service, but it's due to be replaced by the Gripen eventually within the next few years. Anyway, Special Hobby announced that they were going to release the Gripen, or I'm sorry, the Viggen. Um, they announced in 2017. At first, though, it was going to be boxed by Tarangus out in Sweden. So the first kits were issued out in early 2018. Um, it's the JA-37 fighter version. Unfortunately, though, the kit was pretty expensive. I looked at ordering one from Tarangus, and with shipping was well over $60 for one kit. Well, along with the announcement that they were going to release the Viggen under the Tarangus box name, Special Hobby also announced that within about 6 to 8 months, they were going to release the kit in their boxes. So I decided to wait. Unfortunately, that 6 to 8 months became over a year, but they did finally release it. Anyway, in my opinion, especially 72nd scale, the Viggen was in badly need of replacement. The only kits available, if you're able to get a hold of them, were the old Heller kit, which it's one kit which has parts to where you can modify it into one of 4 different versions, which is the fighter version, the strike version, the reconnaissance version, and the 2-seater training version. Um, and then there's the Hasegawa kit, which is basically it's the strike version. Um, and those kits are the molds were designed back in the 70s. Race panel lines, not very well detailed, not a whole lot in the kit. And then Matchbox also came out with a Viggen. I know they came out with a 2-seat Viggen. I'm not sure if they did the single-seat Viggen, but those are the only 3 72nd scale kits that were on the common market. Um, the Heller kit and the Hasegawa kit have been released numerous times. The Matchbox kit has not been seen since Matchbox went under, and most of the molds were sold to Revell, Germany, in which that gets convoluted after a while, and we're not going to get into that. Anyway, Special Hobby announced they were going to release the kit. They finally did. This is the first kit here. This is the box art for the first one right here. Now, as you can see right here, it's a 2-pack set. It comes with the AJ-37 strike version. Also comes with the SK-37 2-seat trainer version. And it came with a picture book. Now, of course, we opened up the kit, actually. See, here are the decals. They're stapled to part of the box so that they don't escape anywhere. The decal sheet is for both versions of the aircraft, so it's the only decal sheet in here, so it's going to be for both sets. The instruction booklet, one for the SK-37 2-seater version, and one for the AJ-37 strike version. I'm pretty sure there's a good possibility that these will probably be released individually somewhere down the road. 2 sets of sprues, one for per aircraft. Basically, they're the same sprues. So, although I do believe that, with the exception of this one, which is the SK-37 version, it does have a sprue for the 2-seat, fuselage. And here's the picture book. So anyway, uh, I went ahead and ordered this online from Special Hobby back when they released it back in, I think, April or May. I can't remember exactly. It was a few months ago. Um, uh, I'm trying to remember. It was like 70 some odd dollars with shipping. So, and their first set sold out rather quickly. Anyway, this is the picture book that comes with it. They also sell the picture book individually on the Special Hobby website. Um, all color, some very nice photos, some detail photos, something you would expect from a picture book. Cockpit, the ejection seat, which is all Swedish designed. But there's not a whole lot covering the weapons carried by these versions. With the exception is probably the fighter version here, but you see the gun pod, the pictures of the gun pod on here, and the fuel tanks, but not a lot in the way of weapons. I mean, you see this version right here, which is probably the strike version, carrying the Apache missile and the RBS. That's the RBS 15 anti-ship missile. Um, but there's not a whole lot weapons-wise. They do have pictures of the engine. It's a good book, but if you're looking to see, here's a picture of the fighter version and the early white markings with the Sky Flash and Sidewinder missiles, which was pretty much the main armament for the fighter version. Um, anyway, if you're looking for more detailed pictures of the armament, you'll have to find sources on the web or another book because there's not very many pictures of that. That's a nice picture book though. Anyway, as I said, 2 sprues. We'll get an opening these shortly. I'm going to put these away. Um, that's the first kit right there. The instruction booklet. You want to probably say full, pretty close to being full colored. I mean, shaded areas for some parts and all that. But of course, the painting instructions are in color. Standard booklet type for Special Hobby lately these days. And of course, in the back of the book, there's parts for, well, the Mirage F1 and some of their kits. We'll get more of that later. Anyway, we'll put this away real quick. Now, after they released this version, this kit here, the 2 aircraft kit, about 2 months ago, they finally released the fighter version, the JA-37 version. It's in a separate kit, single box, single kit. This is the box art for it. If I just get it straight. That's the fighter version. Very nice striking tail markings on there too. I believe that's for the retirement from that unit because a lot of the Viggens have been retired from service. Some have been modified or upgraded for service, but a majority of them have been retired and replaced by the Gripen. Anyway, we got the box here. I did open the sprues in this one here. Here is the top of the fuselage. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see anything clearly on here. But recessed pound lines, very nice. Nicely detailed. Not very many rivets on it. That's the top of the fuselage. Here's the side and bottoms of the fuselage. This is the nose. There's a lot of sprues in here too. I'm not sure how many parts. I think it's close to about 100, maybe more. Other sprues include the wing set and the tail. The tall tail for the fighter version. And also in the other box here for the strike version, it does come with a smaller tail. And as I stated, with the SK 2-seater version, it comes with the the two-seat fuselage top. So let's see here, cockpits. Some of the intake trunking. There's 3 different cockpits. One would be for the fighter version, one would be for the strike version, and then there's a combination of both of them, or one of them with the last one for the two-seat version. Anyway, here you go. Let's see here, wheels, the ejection seat, and control panels. Here's more of the wing, bottom portion, and parts of the forward canards. Now for the fighter version, there is a separate sprue. They have the modified canards on there, and they also have the gun pod, which is right here. Also, it appears that they also have the in-tank trunking. My understanding is that the fighter version is slightly longer than the other versions by about 4 centimeters. So I'm not really sure how that would have translated in 72nd scale. It probably wouldn't have been that big of a difference, but it appears that they included the plug, which is right here, for the fighter version. So at least they got that correct. There's some other differences. The gun pod, the taller tail, the modified canards. Clear parts. They look pretty good. I don't see any damage on them. Nothing wrong with them. So there's the sprues. A lot of them. Decal sheet. That includes the version for the one on the cover there, the red-tailed version. The instruction sheet, the instruction booklet, which looks like the other ones. With, of course, the exception of this is for the fighter version. And let's see here. So there's 3 different versions, 2 in the air superiority gray, and 1 in the, I'm going to pull my hair out because this painting, this camouflage thing is going to drive me nuts version. So, and of course, you see the retirement scheme on this one here. Yep, retirement scheme for that particular squadron. Anyway, thing about this kit is that, number one, it has been weighted. This is a well weighted for kit. People have been looking for a replacement for the older Heller and Hasegawa and Matchbox kits, and I think this is a damn nice thing. One bit that I'm disappointed with is that the kit did not come with any weapons. Now, of course, when I opened up the 2-pack, I didn't see any weapons in there. I thought, well, maybe when they release the fighter version, it'll come with weapons. But as you notice, with the fighter version, there are no weapons. Now, it's not too hard for the JA-37 version because the primary weapons it carried were the Sky Flash missile and the AIM-9 Sidewinder, which you can probably find from, their armament kits with those in it, or you can, just take them off of extra sprues or out of your spares box if you have any missiles in it like that. Sky Flash missiles basically looks almost the same as the AIM-7 Sparrow missile. Some slightly different changes been done to it because it's produced in the UK. But other than that, though, it looks just like the Sparrow missile, just painted differently. In the case of the Swedish versions here, I've seen them painted green, like a forest green. So, but for the fighter version, it's rather simple for the weapons. Although there are no, I didn't see any any pylons. And you might have to, again, go through your spares for that, or you have to modify something for that. Now, it is a disappointment for the AJ-37 version because they did carry Swedish-specific weapons like the RB-04E anti-ship missile, which was only in the Hasegawa kit, and also the Matchbox kit also carried them too. So if you want to arm your strike version with those missiles, you'd have to strip them out of those kits if you have them available. If not, well, it also carried after a while the RB04, which is also kind of hard to find. But in the later years, they started carrying AGM-65 Mavericks. So if you're hard up on finding weapons for these things, also the RBS-15 missile, which again, not with a kit, but you can find them in the JA-37 Greppin kits if you don't want to use it. I know. I think one of the Revell versions, and I think the Italia version may actually have those missiles as well. So, but again, that's the big letdowns. There's no weapons for the kit, no pylons, so you'd have to scrounge for sources on that. Otherwise, they're nice kits. I like them. I gotta thank Special Hobby, because lately with the shift in dynamics in the hobby, to where a lot of the major model makers are going to bigger scales, especially 48 and 32nd scales. Special Hobby's been doing their best they can to pull the weight for 72nd scale modelers. The Mirage F1 series is a very nice kit. And of course now the Viggen, and then they have the Halajit, which is basically the Gnat aircraft. And there's others. They've announced a Mirage 3, and I believe I think, if I remember correctly, they also announced a Mirage 2000. I'm not really sure. I know somebody announced a Mirage 2000 72nd scale. It might have been Kinetic, although I kind of seriously doubt it, because Kinetic seems to be wanting to stick with 48 scale for right now. I could be wrong, but we'll find out later on in the future. Anyway, it's a nice, well-detailed kit. The ejection seats are very nice. There is aftermarket for these kits, CMK, which is basically another division of Special Hobby. That I know they have ejection seats out. I know they do have the Before's rocket pods in resin for this. So at least you can arm it with that if you decide to get something, Swedish specific for the strike version. So anyway, it's a nice kit. I will be building one of these pretty soon. I'm not sure which one yet. It'll probably be one of the fighter versions. It's something that we've been well waiting for. This was put on the top of my list back in 2017 when they announced it. I finally got my grubby hands on them. So anyway, very nice, very cool looking aircraft. Eventually I'll build one and see how well it builds up. Special Hobby, normally the builds are pretty decent. They're not Tamiya Hasegawa type of construction, but they do go together rather well. Anyway, I like to thank myself for shelling out the money for buying these kits. I bought these from an online retailer, ArtScale, I believe is the name of the company, which had them for slightly cheaper than Special Hobby did. I think I got them for some like $35, $36 with shipping, something like that. I can't remember, but it's a $30 range. I do believe, I know I've seen the 2-pack version here in the States already. And I know they were took them a while to get the fighter version here too, but they're very popular out in Europe, and a lot of people here are waiting for it as well. Nice kit. I'd like to thank myself for buying it. I'd like to thank my wife for not yelling at me for buying it. And as I say, if you have any questions or comments, post them below. This kit is highly recommended for those of you that are looking for Swedish aircraft. But as I stated earlier on, if you want to arm it, you'll have to look to other sources to get the weapons for it, because they're not in the kit. Anyway, you'll have a good night.